Alright, welcome back to the Yard. This is part 2 of the Dan Selby conversation from last time, so hopefully you've listened to part 1 already, and we'll just dive straight into this, but we'll let you know that I've included the last 20 seconds of part 1 just so you get the gist of the conversation, because I kind of cut it off in mid-flow last time, so let's just get right back into it. Here we go.
Why do that when you could see everyone and have an awesome big show, you know? The whole thing probably would have died if it didn't happen anyway. So it's funny, isn't it? You know, when things evolve, it happens for a reason, and it's the path that it's meant to take. So that's just how it happened, I think. But yeah, no, everything changed for the better. But eventually, it kind of gets too big and kills itself. So
yeah, I suppose. I mean, it was still a good few years, you know. I mean, of interfeds and stuff like that.
yeah,
One match I wanted to ask you about, I guess, from around that period was the match you had with Kurt at UVW.
oh man,
The concrete match. I mean,
oh man,
I just watched that, and it hurts my back just watching it, you know.
yeah. No, same here. I watched it not long ago, and I hadn't seen it in a very long time, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what I felt. I was kind of disgusted. Just in shock. I really couldn't believe it. It was just how clean some of the bumps were. It was quite uncomfortable watching a bump that should happen on a mat, just on the concrete. And, you know, I sometimes have a bit of trouble with my back. Not as bad as I should have, but I just think, good Lord, there's a reason you don't see people doing this, you know?
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's a reason why it's shocking, because you never see it, and because it's fucking stupid. I thought it was a good match, though. You know, people were very engaged with it. It was very gritty. It was awesome to go and wrestle there. It was just, it's so strange when you visit that place you've seen so many times from certain angles, and now you're there 360 degrees, you're looking round, it's always a bit different to how you anticipate it, and there's always such a special feeling, you know, of anticipation and excitement, and it was awesome to just have all of that place at my disposal, just be able to brawl around in the bushes, on the concrete, down a flight of stairs, you know, fucking everything, mate. It was excuse me, a lot of fun. He was very easy to work with. We were very, very much on the same page. Complete contrast to the rematch we had in 2005 at Betterfest, where he was a nightmare to work with. He dead weighted.
Really?
Oh, he was. You see me lose my rag in the match. There's one point where I start hitting him. It looks like I'm killing him. And you can see me looking really pissed off because he kept sandbagging everything. I ended up breaking his ankle on a shoot side suplex.
Oh, God.
Because he was sandbagging everything. I threw him over so hard, he landed on top of his head, and his feet hit the ground so hard on impact, he broke his ankle. So I was just pissed off. It was like, I faced you 2 years ago, man, and it was easy. And he was making it so difficult and potentially dangerous because he just wasn't cooperating with anything. And it wasn't a conscious decision. He hasn't gone out there and go, oh, yeah, let's stink out the joint. But it was frustrating me because it was becoming dangerous. Like, you know, you can't keep sandbagging everything. You're going to hurt me or hurt yourself. And eventually that's what happened. But yeah, no, that match, loved it. The first one. The second one, it was just really difficult.
Well, let's just stay with that second match for just a second. Speaking of dangerous, what possessed you to do that finish, man? I mean, seriously, the German,
What was it?
the German on the ladder. Unbelievable.
I can't really tell you. I guess it was one of those things where I hadn't seen it being done. It's pretty much as simple as that. I just thought I hadn't seen it being done. I am pretty comfortable with head and necks. Again, I look at it now and think that's really fucking stupid. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it was XPB. Everyone was loving it. There's a lot of people there. A lot of people I respect, a lot of people I want respect from. I'm going to make sure it's a finish you remember. And it's going to be different, it's going to be dangerous, and it was absolutely fine. I seem to recall it didn't hurt at all. It was absolutely fine. But yeah, should have killed me.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was it one of those ones that looks devastating but actually didn't hurt? So
Totally. Yeah,
sometimes we get those, don't we?
Yeah, you do. So, and then more often than not, the ones that suck
Yeah.
are fucking horrible. They really hurt. The shit that looks awful really fucking hurts.
Yeah. Staying on track with the Northern Britfest, what was the story behind Northern Britfest 3? You weren't invited. I mean, man, I gotta hear about
that. Not really too much of a story other than the fact we're a bunch of pricks, really. I mean, what else can you say? There's me, Dave, Barnesy, Pack. I think even... Was Farrell there?
I don't recall seeing him in the comp. I'm not sure.
No. I seem to remember Farrell coming round for a day at PAX, though, which is really weird because I know that they didn't get along. Anyway, I remember Pack had a trampoline in his garden, and I remember we were all pissing about on there. We used to do flip-offs. So, you know, okay, it'd be Swanton. Whoever does the worst one gets knocked out. And, you know, it's proper brutal, like, proper shoot. So, Gary Lyons was about as well. So, you know, we'd bounce around the trampoline. Oh, Gary, that was shit, you're out. And then you'd go on to the next one, la-di-da-di-da. So anyway, we're pissing about on the trampoline. Actually, there's another story here as well. And sorry to get going off on one, but...
No, go for it.
So this is when we're all first starting to hit the weed quite hard. And we were smoking a lot of hash back then. And I remember doing a bong with Barnesy and a few of the other guys. Hadn't really done one before. Hit me like a fucking train. So we're bouncing away on the trampoline. I'm stoned as shit. Like, there's no way in hell that I could ever get that stoned again. I'm absolutely stoned as shit. We all are. We're bouncing away on the trampoline. And I decide it's a good idea to try and do a sit-out bomb and Barnesy. In fact, I think this might have been part of the flip-off. Sometimes it was moves as well. It'd be like, oh, who can hit the best blue thunder? And everybody would go and do it, and whoever's the shittest gets knocked out. So this one was sit-out power bomb. So I think, you know, no problem. That's, you know, my finisher, not a problem. So I go to do it on Barnesy. Barnesy cooperates too well and jumps up really hard. So just as I'm getting him up, he's jumped up too hard. I lose my balance. He kind of almost falls onto his feet on the trampoline, almost like a reversal from a power bomb where you land back on your feet. And I end up stumbling backwards, back bump off of the trampoline into a rockery. Literally just like a stack, like, you know, like a feature in the garden, like a rock feature in the garden. Flat out back bump onto it. Everybody's completely horrified. Like, nobody's stoned anymore. Like, oh, fuck. Like, because they think, well, he could be paralysed.
Yeah.
You know, I flat out back bumped off the trampoline onto rocks. And I remember it really hurting. But all I could do was absolutely piss myself. I was in hysterics. And they were just like, oh, thank God. Like, we thought you were fucking paralysed, man. And I couldn't move for a few moments. I was temporarily paralysed. But then I burst out laughing and everything was fine. But, yeah, obviously I was hurting for a while after it. But, God, I mean, I really got away with that one. But anyway, so we're doing all things like that. And we're saying, oh, why don't we go and do a little event? And I'm pretty sure Farrell was there for this event that we did. We went to a field behind Pack's house and did a little ground event. I think we filmed it. I don't think it was ever captured, though. And then we said, you know, oh, why don't we go down, like, to the field, like Angel of the North, and maybe do, like, a proper show tomorrow? We're like, yeah. And I think this is when we realised that Pack really hated Farrell, because I think it was Pack's idea, because Pack's the brutal one. And he was like, you know, oh, why don't we just do fucking Northern Britfest? We were like, what? He's like, so, like, we're the most over people. Why don't we just do Britfest? It's not Farrell's decision. Why don't we just do our own one? And Dave thought it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. We all found it funny. It was completely dickish, but it was just funny. It was so stupid. And I think Pat was doing it just to get back at Farrell because he knew it'd annoy him. And then I think just the more we talked about it, I think Pack again came up with the you guys weren't invited. He was like, we should even call it you guys weren't invited. Because he's just a complete cunt. Like, I love Pack, but he'll admit he can just be a total cunt when he wants to be. And that's how it all came about. So yeah, it was. I can't remember if it was it Northern Britfest 3 or 4. I can't remember.
It was 3, yeah.
Yeah, Northern Britfest 3. You guys weren't invited, so it was. Yeah, I mean the height of arrogance, the height of dickery, but it happened. It was funny. It weren't meant to cause a row, and well, maybe with Pack it probably was, but hey, it was what it was. It was just clicky people doing clicky things.
Yeah. There was a mix of matches on that one, wasn't there? I think you wrestled Dave.
Yeah, it was. I think it was almost like a round robin type deal. I think actually, yeah, because I faced Dave. We kind of did our thing. Really fun. I seem to remember tearing my trousers in that. I think you can see it halfway through the match. You can just see my boxers. I just remember there been a massive tear in them because I remember Pac finding it hysterical. Yeah, and I definitely faced Pac. Oh, and I faced Farage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I remember Farage. He's warped humour. He come up with he said, right, I want to do a spot where I go for an Irish whip, you reverse it, then I reverse it, then you reverse it, then I reverse it, and we just keep doing it. I was like, okay. So again, this is the whole humour mixed with seriousness. So we're having a serious match.
Yeah.
Then I've got him in the corner. I'll go for an Irish whip, reverse, 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 reverse. I remember just nobody found it funny at all. We found it hilarious, but it completely fell flat. Like, nobody got it. They're like, what? But I don't know. It was funny.
At what point did you start going to the NLW events when they started kind of, doing the big interfeds in 2003?
Sorry, what was the question there?
When did you start going to NLW for their interfeds?
Welsh Fest 2003. Best interfed I've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Loved it. It's the only time I've ever felt like a rock star. It was amazing. Because I remember me and Dave in the trusty red Micra. We were on our way there. We were getting close. We had, I think, Kyle's mobile number. Or it might have been Josh. Can't remember. So Dave's like, dude, I don't really know where I'm going now. We were just getting into Newport, going over the bridge. I was like, okay, all right, I'll give him a ring. So I'm speaking to him, and there's just noise. Like, everyone's yelping and cheering. I can hear people shouting my name. And I'm like, dude, we're nearly there. Like, we're on this road. Where do we go? And they're just not talking properly. They're just too excited. Like, everyone was so excited. There was just like a crowd of people there. And Dave was like, give me the phone. Like, Dave was getting pissed off because he's driving and he wants to know where he's going. You know, we're in a place we've never fucking been to. And we want to get to this event. We've already been driving for nearly 4 fucking hours. We just want to get there and do the fun part when we get there, not now. So Dave takes the phone. He's stroppy. He's like, right, who is this? Tell me where we've got to go. We're on this road. And obviously he's still trying to drive. You know, we're getting nowhere. So eventually we end up parked up on this random road that we think is kind of near it. And we ring them back and go, look, we're parked on this road. Can you please just come and find us? Because we're getting stressed out now. Like, we don't know where we're going. You're going to have to come and get us. Oh, raucous noise again. Yeah. With that, a couple of minutes later, like, we're just sitting in the car. We're a little bit pissed off by this point. It's just like, just want to get a tent set up and all that now. With that, horde of people comes around the corner. Just, you know, it's probably only about 15 people, but, you know, it's a big deal in backyard terms or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're fucking making so much noise. You can see them at the end of the road, then they're all sprinting towards us. They literally cannot wait to come and see us. So we get out of the car and we got mobbed. And it's the only time I've ever felt like a rock star or something, man. Like, in our own little world, in our own little bubble. I know it's all scaled down, but it made me feel incredible. Like, these people were fucking in awe. Like, people were kissing me and hugging me and saying, I can't believe you're here. I can't believe you turned up. Like, I'm so happy to see. Like, it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. It was just at that point I just thought, this has all been worth it. Like, everything I've tried to do, I've just wanted to get recognition, and everything I tried to do was for the greater good of the backyard community. You know, I used to capture stuff for people. I used to try and help them out in any way I could, whether it's advising to go and get tables from here, or do you want me to come up so I can film an event? And all stuff like this was for the bigger picture, the greater good. And I just felt like at that point, it was all justified. It was all worth it just to get that response. It bowled me over. I mean, we were that naturally high from it, as me and Kyle couldn't wait to meet each other. We got along really well, that we started having a sit-out competition on the concrete just in front of everybody, because everybody was so like high and happy. Oh my God. Yeah, so we were out doing each other and literally jumping as high as we possibly could and doing the flattest sit-out we could on the concrete. And God, I regretted it so much. Like the next day, my tailbone hurt so much, I genuinely thought I might have broken it. But that's how high we were. That's the biggest natural high I may ever have. Possibly. It really might be, because it was like nothing else. It was absolutely like nothing else. I was treated like royalty. It was unbelievable. And I had such a good time. I had such an amazing time. It was just, it was magical. And you had the guys filming as well. So that was kind of an extra layer to it. You know, I'd love to watch some of that back again, because, you know, there's footage of me and Kyle having a hug, and it was just, it was unbelievable, man. And, you know, it was another arena to go to. It's like, this is awesome. Fucking disused golf course. And it was the first time that you had the fest put in there, you know, fest for festival, because that's exactly what it was. Instead of music, we had wrestling. Instead of it being 20,000 people, it was 30 people. But they were the only differences, because everything else, it was like a festival. You had all your tents set up. That was the beautiful thing of NLW. You had all the tents set up around the ring area. You had a fire on the go. You had the hill there to do spots off of. It was fucking great. And those guys were so appreciative, because they started from the bottom. They were hated. They weren't over. And now all of these guys that used to give them shit are turning up to their show and they're hosting. And you could just tell it was so sweet for them. They were so happy and proud of what they had managed to achieve. And so they fucking should be, because they run a tight ship. It was great. You know, other than the fact that we couldn't fucking get there because they were too excited over the phone. But, magic. Absolute magic. Loved it. Best one. Definitely the best one for me. I'll always stand by that. I know there was XBB. I know there was this, that and the other, but it was the best one for me, because it just got off on the right foot. And as I said, it's one of the biggest natural highs I'm ever going to get.
Yeah, I think that was the one that kind of started off pretty much the year of NLW Interfeds, you know, like
100%.
I mean, GBH was telling me they did them like every couple of months or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and this is it. This is what I mean. That was what slowly started killing the territories, because why bother? Why bother when, you know, in a month or two's time we're all going to be going up to NLW and seeing all of our wicked mates again and having the time of our lives and having the best matches of our lives. So, as I said, it evolved. That's the way it goes. But no, it was fucking amazing. Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, I can relate to getting to an arena that you've seen, you know, on comps and stuff, because I wrestled on the last NLW show. It was in April 2005.
Was it really? I didn't really know a lot about that, to be honest with you.
It wasn't really much of an event, really.
Yeah, that's probably why. I mean, obviously with these final events, you always expect like a big old send-off and all the rest of it, but it sounds like the equivalent of what happened with Betterfest, really.
Yeah, I mean, they had their goodbye show in 2004, and then me and a couple of WWE guys went up there. We had like a little multi-man match against each other, and then the guys were just getting stoned and drunk, and then we left, really.
Oh, man.
But what you said was so true, is that you're like, oh wow, this is a place that I've seen in comps for so long, but it was slightly different to what you imagined.
It always is. It always is. Like, because obviously you only see the same part over and over again, but you never get to see like the lead up to it. Like, what I always found really awesome was you walk in. Oh God, we're here! Like, it was just
exactly.
Suddenly, it's just like I know exactly where I am now. All of a sudden, it was just absolutely amazing. Like, I remember going to the EMBW arena. I mean, fucking hell, I could have wet myself. I was so excited. You know, you're just walking through this forest. Holy shit, that's where Kid Crazy did the moonsault off the post. Holy shit, you know, it's just Oh yeah, no, I loved it. That was part of the excitement for me. It was meeting the people and visiting the arena. You know.
Yeah, man. And you mentioned the filming at Welshfest. I mean, how did that all come about? The whole Look Up Your Son show, because you were
Um,
kind of one of the main kind of uh, focal points, I guess, of that thing.
yeah, I was actually meant to be a bigger part of it.
Okay.
The whole main event of the whole thing was meant to be me versus Kyle in the cage death match.
I remember hearing you changed the day or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we completely changed our minds. We were like, shit, we've got in too deep here, and we realised that this ain't going to be put across in a positive light. Because first of all, we were thinking about the benefits. We were thinking, hey, we'll be on TV, awesome. And you kind of get blinded by that. And then we were thinking, also, they're going to get some really good camera angles. Yeah, it's going to be nice to see our match properly produced, like this cage of death match that we're so looking forward to. It's not just going to be on TV, it's going to be properly produced. So we're thinking about all the positives, and then obviously as the time ticked on, I'm like, I don't know about all this actually. I don't know if this is actually going to be a very good idea. So we ended up fobbing them off, and I think that was some of the reason why the cage of death match was actually done at the bottom of the hill rather than at the top of the hill, which is where they usually wrestled. It's actually at the bottom of the hill, and we did it so we were out of, eyesight really, because the guys knew where to go from the day before. So we thought if they come through and see us wrestling, they're obviously just going to come over. Whereas at least if we're at the bottom of the hill, we're not immediately visible, and they might just turn away and go back. But yeah, we ended up fobbing them off. I think we ended up saying some shit, like either it wasn't happening or, I don't know, we lied to them and got out of it because me and Kyle just both said we don't want to do this. Like, we want to keep this as a backyard thing and backyard thing only, So, but yeah, no, honestly, looking back, I wish we had done it now because why not? The show was what it was. It was awesome being on TV. And it would have been really nice to see the match captured and produced to such high quality. So I regret that, but, not heavily. I've still got the footage of it, so it's all good. But, yeah, how did it come about? I think they posted on the forum.
That was it, was it? Just
I think so, yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure, yeah.
I wonder how they found out about it, It's like...
It's interesting, isn't it? As I said, it got hot, man. It just got hot. It got big. The forum's just brimming in 2003. There's so many people. There's so many new people. Like, you were getting like 20, 30 people sign up every single day. It don't seem like a lot, but if you think about that, to UK backyard wrestling, the thing was just swelling, man. It was out of control. But... yeah, and people wanted to understand it. That people wanted to put it on television and do a documentary about it because it was getting big and because it was so different. It was, it's car crash television, really, isn't it? So, yeah, that's how that come about, I think. And, yeah, we ended up sort of screwing them over a little bit, really.
What was it like at Welshfest? I mean, you said it was your favourite internet fed, but, like, how... what's the word? How prominent was their presence there filming the matches and stuff like that? Were they there for a bit and then would go off, or...?
Yeah, I think so. I'll be honest, I don't really recall.
Okay, so it didn't really impact too much on the atmosphere and stuff.
They weren't telling us, like, you got to do this or you got to do that. The funniest thing was the massive swerve that Birch did, though, because after the whole... after they kind of realised that we were getting cold feet about me and Carl doing a death match, I think they started to turn their attention to Birch a little bit more. And the whole angle for the show was Birch's retirement. And then the funniest thing is when they're doing an interview with him and they're asking him about his last match, and he's like, this isn't actually going to be my last match. And they were just stunned. They were like, what? That we've built the program now around this. And Birch has just gone, no, it's actually not going to be my last match. And it's in the documentary.
Yeah, I remember.
He actually says, no, it's not going to be my last match. They were so gobsmacked. It was such a fucking swerve, but hey, it's real reality TV. We weren't being told you got to do this. I mean, obviously they kind of tried. As I said with the Birch thing, obviously that's what that was the plan they wanted to stick to. But Birch threw an almighty curveball in there, so there we go. But yeah, I don't remember it being particularly prominent, to be honest with you.
Okay, cool. You still have that then? A tape of
No,
the trailer?
I don't. I know my dad's got a tape of it somewhere. I'd love to see the whole thing again.
All right, yeah, because I thought you said just then you said you had the footage, but
Oh,
I think there's
sorry.
a
What I meant was I've got the footage of the death match in the comp.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I should have
Because
explained that.
there is a trailer for it on YouTube, and
That's right.
it's crazy seeing like NLW in like widescreen, almost HD quality. It's ridiculous. It would be great to see that again. Again, that was actually what clued me up to the forum. Actually,
Oh, really?
yeah, man, that was it. It's funny because my dad kind of introduced me to backyard wrestling, believe it or not.
That's weird.
And again, I told the story before, but he showed me that the Best of Backyard Wrestling Volume 1, that like American,
Oh, yeah.
I think we've all seen that.
Those.
And then my stepmom, she said, "Oh, there's a show on TV about wrestling," and I watched it, and then joined up to the forum just after it had gone out on TV, and it was like a minefield, just so many people signing up and being flamed and all that stuff.
Oh, don't. It fucking went crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, no one would believe me, but I remember the next day, I signed into MSN, and I'm trying to be honest with this. I think it was around about 70 to 80 people had added me, which is ridiculous.
I believe it, yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Because I remember I signed in, and you get the little box, little pop-up window that comes up when somebody's added you, whether you allow them to add you or whether you decline and block them. So, first email comes up, don't recognise it, okay, accept. Next one comes up, accept. And I sat there, I just started laughing. I was like, no way. Quite a lot of hot girls added me as well. That was pretty cool. Like, Jesus, the power of television. Like, suddenly...
Definitely, yeah.
People just want to talk to me. And what I found was amazing is my email wasn't even shown on the show. So they had gone out of their way to go onto the forum, find me, then find my email on my profile. That's the part that I found astonishing.
Yeah.
Absolutely astonishing that 70 to 80 people had bothered to do that after watching the show that I was in and just wanted to speak to me. It was very, 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 very strange. Very enlightening, very eye-opening, the power of television. But very strange. Very, very strange.
Yeah. One match to me that always stands out from your career, I guess. I always feel weird when I say career, but it's just kind of an easier way of saying it, isn't it, really?
Hey, it's our bubble, mate. It's our bubble.
Exactly, yeah. But it's the four-way at Mindgames. And that was like, that time you had like, Barnsley was there and stuff. And but just that four-way match, even though there's no sound in the clips, you can just tell the atmosphere just by watching the crowd reacting, and it's just
fucking electric, mate.
Just tell me about that match. I'd love to hear something about it.
I'd love to. So I remember chatting to the guys before the match, and one of us asked the question who's going over, and who was it that said it? I don't think it was me. I think it might have been Dave. I think Dave said, "You should win it," and pointed at Kyle. And Kyle was like, "No way. Like, no way." Like, he absolutely flat refused. He said, "No fucking chance. No way." He was like, "I don't even want to. I'm just so happy to be in this match. I'm not winning, man. Like, it's not my match to win." And Dave was like, "Who are people realistically going to expect to win?" And, we all kind of agreed, it'd be us three, like me, Barnesy and Dave. And, said, no disrespect, let's throw them off. Give them something they ain't going to expect. Give them a finish that's going to surprise them. It's going to get you over. Said, we're already doing our thing. Me and Dave are in the middle of our feud. Barnesy's Barnesy. You should win. You should absolutely win. It's a multi-man match anyway. It's fine. So he, reluctantly agreed. And we come up with this awesome finishing sequence where me and Dave basically writ ourselves out of the match completely because this was the first time, that's bullshit actually, this is the second time we ever did the forearms, which became synonymous with our feud.
Yeah.
the first time we did it was about a few weeks before at, Baz's mate Cherry's barn. I can't remember the name of the fed, but we did like a cage of death there.
Do you know, I remember that because the comp is something like Cage of Motherfucking Pissing Cunting Death .wmv.
That's the ticket. And it's set to really shit like death metal and stuff. But me and Dave had a fun match there. And that was the first time we ever did the forearms. And this is when we've been watching a lot of NJPW and stuff. And we thought, again, what can we do different? And, we loved the idea of the stiff, strong style. And we just wanted something iconic that would make him look like a badass and make me look like a tough little badass. And we come up with this idea of rather than exchange of blows, we'll exchange forearms. Because I think Dave was even toying the idea of just punching each other for real. And, we thought, no, we've got to try and do something different where we can still lay it in. So the compromise was these forearms. And rather than the kind of cruiserweight forearms where, if you can imagine with your left hand, you take your opponent by the back of the head and you like pop them with a little forearm. Imagine like the RVD ones where he does like little forearm pops to the head. We said, no, we'll wind back as hard as we can and we'll hit each other with the inside of our forearms almost. So, that was the deal. We trialled it out at the Cage of Death show. They weren't 100%. We probably went about 80% strong just to feel it out, see if it worked. And we actually did a double knockout finish. And it got a good reaction. So we thought, okay, in the four-way, as the end spot, me and Dave will face off, give each other the nod, and it's best man wins. Let's fucking beat the shit out of each other. And we said to each other, we don't know how many we're going to do. We will keep going until we fall to the floor. That was 100% legit. We said we will hit each other until we can't stand up anymore. So I was pretty nervous going into it. Dave was 22 stone, 6'3". I was about 8 or 9 stone, 5'4". Who's going to win? So, but I knew I needed to stand my ground. I had to show people that I was tough. That's the whole idea. So it was kind of almost, it was kind of quite legit in a way, really. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't realise if the first blow he gave me was going to knock me out. I weren't sure. But the crowd's fucking electric. What made things different at NLW was the poison that was women, right? Okay? They caused a lot of problems. But my God, if there are women screaming at you as you're doing a spot, you're going to turn it up even more. So Dave unleashes the first forearm on me, and fucking hell, I realise he's going 110%. We're not doing 80 anymore. This is for real. And I just remember the girls shrieking. I just remember high pitch, like gasps and screams, because everyone knew it was real. You could see at this point, the blindfold was off. This is real. And he levelled me. I thought, okay, if this is how we're doing it, you're going to get everything I've got. So I levelled him. And we kept getting harder and harder and harder. And then I just remember, it was slowly going to our knees. And then he gave me one. And I just ended up winding back, folding under my own knees and like lying flat on my back with my legs still underneath me. And just seeing, sparkling stars and everything. I was just gone. I was completely gone. But, and everything all went quiet. Everyone was going mad, but in my head, everything had all like fell quiet. I was just fucked, man.
Jesus.
And Dave said he was stunned because at one point you'll see one of the blows, I pretty much catch him with an elbow instead of forearm. And you see he goes down to one knee and he said, that was 100% legit. He said, I can't believe you actually took me off my feet. I was like, shit. I'm all right with that. I said, you won the battle, but I'm fucking all right with that. That's great. That's great. So anyway, we take each other out. We're both dead on the floor. And that was where it all kicked off, the forearm thing. That was what we became synonymous with, is the Dave and Selby forearms. And so then in the ring, we were in the ring, but we were down now. So in the ring, you've got Barnesy and Kyle. Barnesy goes for the, not Highway to Hell, what do you call his finisher? Elevator. He goes for the elevator, double underhook. It's like a J driller, basically. He goes for it. Everyone thinks, well, this is the finish. Dave and Selby take each other out. Barnesy gets the win because Barnes is the special attraction.
Yeah, definitely.
He goes for it. Roadkill low blows him. Does his own version of it, which was also his finisher because Kyle did the same finisher as Barnesy. He did the Highway to Hell, it was called. And, he hit him with his own version of it. 1, 2, 3. And me and Dave were sort of crawling towards them as he was going for the pinfall. So everyone was thinking, oh, they're going to break it up. No, he got the 3. And everyone was just shocked. But I thought it was just a lovely finish. Everybody got over. As I said, I just remember the girls. I remember the girls screaming. And it was, as I said, I know I keep talking about the turn-on thing, but it was kind of a turn-on again. Like, it really got the adrenaline going.
Yeah.
Like, you felt like a fucking warrior. Like, I'm there nearly half the size of this guy, and we're battering the shit out of each other. And these girls are, I think some of them are like nearly crying, but seriously, because they were worried for my well-being. Because this guy was beating the shit out of me, like legitimately beating the shit out of me. And, you know, I was quite close with a lot of the girls, and it was quite upsetting. It was quite distressing because they knew straight away this wasn't wrestling anymore. This was real. So it was very sudden, very, very sudden. And, I'll just always remember that. Me and David said about that a few times, that we'll never forget, like, the girls screaming when we started hitting each other, because it was just...
Yeah.
It was quite dark, but it was good. It spurred us to keep going, you know?
Yeah. Well, around this time, like 2003, you know, the NLW Interfeds and stuff, or I mean, maybe even further back, who were your favourite, like, backyarders to watch?
Sorry, what era are we talking here?
Well, I said, you know, around 2003, but even before that, I mean, just generally around those early days, you know, early 2000s.
Okay. I was fascinated by Danny Yarko. I looked up to him a lot. He was kind of the unsung hero of EMBW.
Yeah.
He was so clean, so ahead of his time. It was disgusting. Looked up to him an awful lot. Great guy. Then probably Dreamer, I'd say. Yeah, probably Dreamer. You know, because he's the best.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that.
Sorry, it's a bit of a short answer for me there, but no, I don't really know how much I can elaborate. For me, Dreamer was the best.
Fair enough.
It was a pleasure to watch. He was great because he got it. He just got it. Even from the first time we saw him, I remember me and Oz looking at each other and were like, he's fucking great. And that's no disrespect to Costa, because Costa was doing his job, but there was something about Dreamer. Even like his punches. They're the best punches you're going to see in backyard. Bar none. He everything he did had a purpose. Everything he did was deliberate. And it was great. He was so thorough. You know, wrestling him was just easy. He got it. He was brilliant. And for me, he was the absolute best. Absolute best. You know, I know people talk about Pac and Barnesy, and I've even been honoured enough to have people throw my name about. But for me, Dream was the best. Absolutely the best.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The little things as well, I think. But especially...
Everything, mate.
Yeah.
Everything, mate. He can do everything. He can do everything. He can fly. He's not the best high flyer in the world, but he can deliver a fucking good cross body. He can't moonsault, but loads of people can moonsault. Who cares?
Yeah.
He's one of the best technical wrestlers. Great submission. Great hardcore. He can cut a funny promo. He can cut a promo that makes you want to slit his throat. He's the best. He's the absolute best. And as you say, the little things. He can do all the big things, but it's all the little things that make him a step above the rest. He's just incredible. Like, as I said, people underestimate the importance of a good strike. Because if you've got weak strikes in between moves, I don't give a shit about the moves because you've lost me.
Yeah.
Completely lost me. As Dreamer, you'd see him like clench his fist, wind back, pow, in the head, bang, and it, like every single fucking shot he'd load up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything. Like, he's selling as well. God, I mean, just the guy's so good. I mean, it's kind of like me in the sense that I think we both spent a little bit too long trying to do things that we weren't very good at. Like, I'd spent too long for a while trying to do certain flips, and I think he spent a little bit too long trying to do the same, when I think we probably more should have concentrated on what we were good at. But, I mean, God, that's my only criticism. That's not even really a criticism. That's just part of the learning curve. But fucking hell, yeah. For me, he's the best.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure you will probably be up for doing another one of these at some point in the future. So I don't want to go over the whole Dreamer thing just yet.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do want to mention is when he moved down to Newport, we were talking about this last night, and joined NLW. Was there any kind of fallout, from the fact that he wasn't in ECW anymore for that, or was it just more of a, just an accepted thing?
No, I was really annoyed.
Yeah.
I was really annoyed. A load of us were annoyed. And what really pissed us off was the bullshit. He wrestled as, was it Rise Taylor or something, under a mask?
All right.
Did you know about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he wrestled under a mask. It was like, who are you trying to kid? Like, it was total bullshit. And yeah, I was really annoyed because, we'd all worked hard to create this ECW thing, and as I said, it's stupid looking back at it now, but we were in our bubble. That was our fucking world, man, and it was shit. I just thought, we go to NLW to do the interfeds, but we're still ECW, and then it was like, yeah, he's just going to pack up and go. I mean, to be fair, he did nothing wrong looking back, but I just took it as an insult. I shouldn't have done, but I think it was the way it was done was the problem. I think it was all the bullshit, and, Dan's the nicest guy in the world, but he used to be full of shit, and he would lie, and he'd connive, and it really pissed me off. It really pissed me off. Because what a lot of people don't know is there was a point where we felt like stepbrothers. Could have ended up being that way. Because, as I said, my parents separated. My mum ended up seeing Dan's uncle for a while. So when Dan's uncle would come over, Dan would come with him. So it would feel like he was my stepbrother. And, I even introduced him to my local friends, like non-wrestling friends, like the old HWA guys. We'd go out and drink with them, like street ratting it and things like that. So when something like that happens, a lot of people don't realise that there's a little bit more history to me and Dan than, people first recognise, And that's why when he's let me down, I took it so personal. As I said, I'm very, very oversensitive anyway. Still am now. But that's why I took it so personal, because it was personal with me and Dan. That was the problem. I valued him tremendously as a person. I wish he'd cut the shit a little bit sometimes. As I said, he's different now. He's straight up. But he'll admit, he used to tell a few fibs. He used to let people down. And unfortunately, he let me down a number of times. And I took it very, very, very personally, because he's such a lovely guy, and I valued him enormously. And that's why I took it so personally. As I said, I still love him now. He's a great guy. I wish I saw him more. I really do. There's no better guy to sit and talk to and shoot the shit, watch some wrestling, drink some beers with.
Yeah.
Fucking great guy. Love him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. Yeah.
So, was there any friction then when it was? I think it was ass kicking, willy flicking, 2004. Well, then again, I'm not sure when he joined NLW, but the next Interfed, I guess, that you guys were at, was there any problems or?
That's interesting. I can't really remember because I don't recall there being friction, but then again, I was also mashed off my head that show. Like I was in a really bad way.
I want to talk to you about that one, because that's when you were supposed to wrestle Barnsley, right, on the second day.
That's right, yeah.
What was the? Yeah, I just wanted. What did you plan anything or?
Can't remember.
No.
Can't remember, mate. We were out of our mind.
Was that much of a?
No, we were absolutely out of our minds. That's why it didn't happen. Like when I faced Johnson, I was stoned out of my head. I was absolutely out of my head. And it was after that event I said, I'm not going to smoke before matches anymore. It makes you too lethargic. I forget spots at the best of times.
Yeah.
It makes you anxious. I think I'm going to fuck up. It's not worth it. It's definitely an after match more than before match thing, 100%. So yeah, I decided to knock the old pre-match smoke on the head after that because
Right.
yeah, it weren't having the right effect.
So I remember
RVD does it. I tell you, I really don't.
yeah. Well, I remember at the time it was such a anticipated thing. But
It
then,
was, yeah,
but
it
then you
was.
guys went on to do the Betterfest match.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that would have been that year, wouldn't it? 04.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we did it at first Betterfest, yeah.
So what are your memories of that match? Because I know the story behind the finish.
Yeah.
But yeah, just in general, did you feel pressure because it was
Yeah,
such a
loads.
yeah?
Loads. Yeah, loads. Yeah. It was, Pac was watching. He was starting to get big at that point.
Mm.
By big, I mean he was doing indies and stuff, which was a big deal at that point. Obviously, it seems minute in comparison to what he's achieved now, but, so that was a big deal. It was the first XPB show. We decided, okay, fuck NLW, why don't we just do our own one here? Screw it. Why don't we get people to come to us? That's a much easier idea. And do you know how the name come about?
No, I don't. I'm assuming it just went along with the whole better than you kind of, maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm more meant the XPB name.
Oh, right, okay, sorry, yeah, go on.
Sorry,
No
I should
idea.
have explained that.
No, that's true.
I was we come up with this idea to do this show, me and Burton, and then I was in the car with my mum one day, and we stopped at traffic lights, and there was a car in front of me with a registration plate XPB, and instantly, I just in my head just went Extreme Public Battles. That's just the name of our show, and that's how it came about. It's weird, but the Betterfest concept, I'm pretty sure Barnsley was very instrumental in it because he come down. And I seem to remember being around my mate Rusty's house over in Saffron Walden. Me, Rusty, Burton and Barnsley are walking around. And I just remember this. It again went back to the cliquey, arrogant thing. Yeah, fuck your Welsh Fest. Fuck this fest. This is just Betterfest. This is going to be even better. Like, we are just a step above. It was the whole arrogant, cliquey thing again. So we thought, okay, the idea of our thing is it's just going to be elite. We invite people because the difference was with NLW, it was open invite. We were the first one to start exclusively inviting people. I mean, how fucking cliquey is that? Yeah. So we literally handpicked who was coming to our show so we could put the card. Because the idea of Betterfest was to be better. So we want the best people, but the best matches to make the best interfed. So, and yeah, this was another idea we had. We were like, even though it's an interfed, we're just going to say we're a fed. Like, it was just a big kind of fuck you. It's completely arrogant. And, yeah, because really, it should have just been an ECW show or something, really. But no, we invented a completely new company for it. And it just kind of said we were like the biggest fed in the country, really. So we were almost trying to do NAW before NAW, in a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the match itself, I think it was very overrated.
Really?
Yeah. I watched it back the other day, but then again, expectations are different there. It was kind of a transitional point for me, where I was slowly starting to appreciate and learn and develop my psychology a little bit more. But I thought some of the matches was really good. Some of it didn't make any sense. Obviously, Laney screwing up over and over again just made the whole thing a sham. But, we got some more stuff out of it. It's better for the comp. But as far as the match goes, yeah, it's pretty overrated, I thought. But at the time, really happy with it. And I suppose that's what counts, really. I'm talking about it now at the end of the line, whereas obviously expectations and skill levels are completely different there. So it's quite hard to say. But retrospectively, a little bit disappointing. At the time, yeah, it was great.
Cool. Well, do you want to mention what happened with the ref Laney? Because I don't think a lot of people know the story.
Yeah,
and I think it's just ridiculous.
So, this guy called Laney, who is friends with Bob, Aussie Mayhem, Chris Taylor. He wrestled now and then. Mainly was a fan. He was desperate to ref me versus Barnsley. He was like, please can I do it? I was like, yeah, it's fine, mate, no problem. He was like, what's the end spot? And I don't know, it might have been a greetings from Arlo Mills, set out powerbomb, something like that. It's like, yeah, okay, no worries. So we do the end spot. 1, 2. Oh, I've got something in my eye. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Everyone's all confused. It all goes silent. Everyone thinks, what's happened? Like, who's screwed up here? Then so I just remember somebody going, Laney, like, what are you doing? Like, and everyone realised he had fucked up. So we're like, okay, right. We just carry on. Did a few more spots. Went for the fall again. 1, 2. Stopped again. And he was like, oh, he kicked out. He kicked out. I was like, what are you doing? And then you'll see on the end clip, it finishes with like a Ganso bomb. Yeah, obviously none of this was planned. All completely on the fly. So Barnesy just lifts me up, drops me on my head. And you can see as he's going for the pin, you can see him appealing, saying, fucking count.
Yeah.
Like, as he's pinning me, he starts banging his hand on the mat with the ref to say, fucking count the fall. And yeah, you can see it happen there. So yeah, that was what happened there. It was annoying, but everybody was all like, oh, I'm glad that did happen because there was more mental stuff. So that's what I mean for the comp. It was great, but it was annoying at the time.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Unbelievable, isn't it? He just said, I'm really sorry, I just wanted to see more. You know, it's a nice compliment. It was just annoying.
Yeah.
Mm.
And what about the other match you had? That was the Aussie Mayhem match, right? The next day.
Yeah.
The bare bones, whatever you call it, deal.
Pretty damn good match. Yeah, pretty damn good match. We just didn't gel whatsoever.
No?
No, not at all. I would say he's one of the most difficult people I've ever worked with.
And I would say the exact opposite. It's weird how that works, isn't it? You know what I mean?
And I don't mean there's a knock against him at all.
It's just the thing. Sometimes it's just there for some inexplicable reason. Sometimes it's not. You know.
I know part of the reason. Part of it was timing. Like his way of working is, you know, let's take a suplex, right? So he'd hook me up for a suplex, and I'd go to jump, and he'd go 1, 2, 3, jump. Like that's how he did all of his moves. And I was like, no, man. Like, I don't want to stand there for 3 seconds before we do a move. Like, you just feel it. Like, you both bend your knees and you launch. Like, you just feel it. But every move he did was 1, 2, 3. And it was like, it really threw me off. And it was really difficult. And, yeah, we just didn't gel very well. And it's nothing against him. I'm not saying I'm right and he's wrong. That's just the way it was. I just think we struggled to work with each other. But it was still a pretty damn good match. It's just...
Oh, yeah.
You know, you probably wouldn't know unless I told you, but it was... I found it very difficult working with him, and it's really not a knock against him whatsoever, because he probably thought the same.
Yeah, and I didn't find that when I wrestled him, but that was like 4 years after that, you know, and people always change and
That's
things
true.
like that. But, yeah, I found him very intuitive to work with, but... Yeah, either way, I love that match. It was just the concept of taking the the top off the ring and stuff, and it just made everything look really brutal. And
yeah, again, it was just something different. I mean, realistically, it didn't hurt that much more at all.
I wouldn't imagine it would, no, but it just looks better, you know.
Yeah, exactly, and the sound as well. You know, that's the thing. We had the sound in that comp. What always sticks out for me is he gave me a spine buster, and it just looks devastating. He hit it absolutely perfectly, and the sound it makes is great.
Yeah, it's just one of those unique things, I think. But and I'm guessing that was the last match of the event as well.
Yeah, it was main event, so we wanted to do something a little bit different. I remember the most painful bump of the match is he gave me a backdrop onto a wooden ladder.
Yes, that makes me cringe every time.
Disgusting. Like there's like I don't even know how to explain it. There's almost like 2 impacts. It just looks so jarring and disgusting. I mean, that probably did some damage, I'd imagine.
Yeah, how are we feeling like around that point, I guess, say 2004? I mean, just pain-wise.
I would have thought it's probably around this time that the head injuries were becoming a problem. I mean, the back was a big problem.
Right.
I really badly injured my back I think it was 2004. It was at an ECW house show, me versus Short Round, main event. And we started the match with a rock bottom. He gave me a rock bottom. Like, we did a technical sequence, and out of nowhere, he hit me with a rock bottom. Like, we thought, try and do a bit of a different start to the match. And it was at that arena that I was talking about where there used to be concrete under the ground. And yeah, it was completely textbook, flat out, really nice. Something just completely went in my back. I landed, and straight away, something completely went. Still did the entire rest of the match, probably went about 20 odd minutes. And I just remember I couldn't walk properly afterwards. It was just agony, like absolute agony to even put a centimetre out of place. Like if I didn't move in the way that I was getting by, it would punish me. You know, because when you're injured, you work out a means of getting around that isn't going to hurt so much. But as soon as you stepped a centimetre out of line, fuck me, did it remind me that I got it wrong. And I remember being like laid up on a sofa for weeks, and I'm trying to think what it was. It was some sort of nerve damage, apparently. But I remember that was the first time I had to have diazepam. That's strong old shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a problem. That was a little bit reoccurring, that one as well. Was it 2004? I got internal bleeding, I think, as well.
What?
Yeah. I think it was 2004. It was either 04 or 05. I think it was right at the end of 04. It was, again, at XEW where we did... they said it shouldn't be done. You know, I said about me and Dave were meant to have that big match and we ended up getting elsewhere. Yeah, we did it at that arena again with a ring in the garden. And it was me versus Nitro. Was it me versus Nitro? No, I think it was the match before. It was me versus Ozzy versus PW Winslow. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a three-way, and I decided it'd be a good idea to hit an elbow drop to the outside of the second rope onto concrete. For whatever reason, I did it the wrong side. I think the way he was laid out on the floor, I had to do a left elbow rather than a right one. So my landing was awkward. It looked good, but my landing was awkward. I wasn't conditioned for landing on that side. And I remember just feeling, like that weren't nice. So it was never going to be nice, but I thought, that weren't nice, that. I ended up having another match afterwards against Nitro. Didn't feel too bad. And then I just remember my legs stiffening up. And again, it was that whole, if I move it a centimetre out of place, I'm in deep shit here. Like, it was agony, absolute agony. And I remember it just stiffened up to the point where I just couldn't move my left leg at all. And literally, I was meant to be going back to Nitro's, I think, that night. And I remember Birch and Nitro, I was standing between them. I had my arms around them either side, and they were practically just having to lift me around. I couldn't move. So I had to go to hospital. They were trying to work out what the problem was. Just gave me a load of painkillers. Still had the problem a week or so later. Went to my local doctors and they said it was internal bleeding. They didn't pick up on it. That was internal bleeding.
Jesus Christ!
Like, holy shit! Yeah. So they were two bad injuries, but the worst one's the head injuries. I mean, that's.
When did that start? I mean, I'm lucky to have not really had much of that. I mean, I've never been fully knocked out even, but definitely a few knocks. But I mean, yeah, when did it start becoming an issue?
Well, the first one was 2002. It was at the second ECW show called Hit and Run. And this is when it was just me and Ollie. And his ring in his garden really started breaking down at this point because he actually used to have a ring. Like, before the ring base, there was a small ring he had in the garden, a little homemade one. And it was really imploding at this point. And it was completely sagged in the middle of the ring. And, it was all soft and everything. But the problem was he gave me a sit-out spine buster. If you can imagine, he's in the corner. So I'm kind of bumping towards the middle of the ring. And it's all sagging in the middle of the ring. So I back bump. I do that first impact. And then my head recoils backwards because it's slanting downwards into the middle. And the back of my head hits the middle of the ring. And I completely got wiped out. I mean, I did the rest of the match on autopilot. Then afterwards, I just had complete memory loss as far as, I knew I was, but it was would it be short-term memory loss? I don't know. I don't know exactly how you put it, but it was only like things that day I'd forgot because I got fined on the train because I didn't have the right ticket or something stupid like that. And Ollie had to tell me again, yeah, because that's right. I had a little white piece of paper with a fine on it. And I was like, what is this? Why have I got this? And he was like, you got it on the train, remember? I was like, what? Why? Why? And I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. And I seem to remember we started laughing because we started eating some cake and it brought me round. And we were laughing, saying, next time we just got to use the cake, really. It would bring me back round. But yeah, it all started from there. I don't know whether that first impact affected me thereon or whether it's just a coincidence that it just kept happening. But yeah, that was the first time it happened. And then throughout the years, it just become more and more frequent that I'd just have, like a migraine after every match.
Ugh.
Basically every single match I'd have a migraine. Pretty much any match, you'll see me go and take myself away from everyone and just try and sit there and have a drink and get my head back together because it hurts to talk. Like I'm literally in agony. Like my head is ringing. And yeah, I just became concussion prone all the time. The one of the worst ones I ever had, I took 3 really severe blows to the head at Dangerous Jeopardy 2004, the one that Dream and O showed.
Right.
Talked a little bit about in the podcast. I was running on complete anger. I was so hurt. Felt so betrayed. What he didn't mention is I was out walking the streets trying to find him because I thought he had got hurt or mugged. He didn't call me. He didn't do anything. He didn't tell me. We were camping out, me, Pac, a few other guys were camping out at the arena. And he was meant to be coming at X o'clock. Didn't turn up. So I started walking the streets for him. I was worried and just never heard from him. Just didn't show up. So I was running on pure anger, and Ollie, being a good friend he is, he was like, dude, I don't want to wrestle, but I'll wrestle you. Like, I know that you were meant to face Dreamer, so let's just do it. He didn't want to, but he was cool,
Yeah.
But his heart weren't in it, which always leads to injuries. And I took 3 severe blows to the head. You still see him in the comp. And complete memory loss after the match. And then I had to be told by people that the next day I was taking a flight to Turkey with my dad and sister. And I remember going home and saying to my mum, I can't do this. I'm really injured. I can't do this. This is a bad idea. And my dad wasn't having any of it. It's like, no, pay for a ticket now. No, you're coming. So I think the flight probably affected me very, very badly. I don't think I should have been flying that soon after, I think, 3 heavy blows. It was almost 3 separate concussions in one match. Yeah, did a flight. Then suffered from post-concussion syndrome in Turkey. Like, I was completely normal. And one night, me, my dad and sister were walking down a road. Felt like I was on a boat. Everything was rocking from side to side. Couldn't walk in a straight line. I felt like paralytic drunk. Then started dehydrating and panicking. My dad was having to buy a bottle of water like every 100 yards, and I was having to just tip it all over my body, all over my head. This is just like in public, in the middle of the street. I was freaking out. Ended up in hospital. I had to stay there overnight on a drip. They couldn't identify what the problem was again. And then again, it was when I come back, they identified it and said it was post-concussion syndrome. And yeah, it just got a lot worse from there. Every match, I was pretty much getting concussed. Nearly every match, memory loss. Most of my matches were autopilot because I'd hit my head at some point and wouldn't know any of the spots at all. Just got on instinct.
Well, it has to raise the question. Don't take it in a bad way, but why did you continue?
Loved it.
Just too much passion for it.
Yeah, loved it. Because the pain would be temporary. I'd have a migraine for a while after. Then I'd start coming back round. I'd start getting my memory back. And, you'd have something to watch. You'd watch and go, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I'll wait for the next time. You put all the bad stuff to the back of your head. But it got to the point where it's too much. I knew it was too much. I remember just the final straw. It was when I faced Tyrant at NAW and we were doing our feud. I remember hitting the back of my head. I just thought, I can't keep doing this. I've got to start winding it down. And then I remember the last match I had in 2008, I got clean knocked out again. I did moves I've never done in that match before because I was that badly concussed during the match. Like I was watching myself just going, what on earth is going through my mind? Like I did the New Jack chair spot, which I've never done in my life. And like I got two of the guys, lay them on top of each other as if one was pinning the other one, which it should have been a pin, but this is how much I wasn't thinking. I laid one on top of the other, took a chair, went to the top and just jumped off and just slammed the chair into him. Like, I never, ever, ever do that, ever. But I was just on complete autopilot and, you know, I don't remember the speech I did at the end. I don't remember crying my eyes out. I had a speech planned and I've seen the footage of it and I just kind of say it's going to be my last match and just completely break down. I only started coming round when people started coming in the ring. I slowly started coming round. But it was the right time to stop, sadly.
Yeah. Well, let's just go to that then. I mean, when did you decide, right, this is it? And when was that match kind of booked and put together? Was it like on the day or like, you know, beforehand?
Oh, I wish I could tell you. I mean,
No?
as I said, I knew that it was time to start winding it in when I'd finished that feud with John because I'd quit NAW then as well. And the whole idea was finish this feud, put him over, set him up as a heel, my work is done. And I thought, you know, my back's banged up, I'm taking too many knocks to the head, it's fucking me up now, I need to start winding down. And those mats didn't help, you know, it was devastating on my back, absolutely devastating, those mats. So yeah, I mean, the seed was planted there, so that would have been 2006. I think I probably had about 3 or 4 matches over the next 2 years. I barely wrestled at all.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it was a big event. I don't think the original match was meant to be me in that BBWF match. I think that there was going to be a big BBWF, like 7-way or something. And I think I might have been facing Dave or somebody like that. Because I don't think I definitely weren't meant to be in that match. And then I think a few of the BBWF guys dropped out. My opponent had dropped out. And I was like, well, I'll join in with you guys. I said, this is going to be my last one. So, yeah, it was, again, you know, a little bit of an anticlimax. Like, I always wanted to go out with a really good, like, one-on-one match. And it's nothing against those guys. I fucked my head up. I struggle with multi-man matches at the best of times, let alone when I'm on autopilot. You know, I've watched the match back and it's like, it's one of those classic mid-90s ECW matches that go on for too long. Lots of brawling, some good spots. Like, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. You know, it was a legitimate 45-minute match, but there was a lot of dead air. We could have cut out 10 minutes of that easily. But, I wasn't me, unfortunately. So that was that.
Yeah, I think I remember I'd saying at the time that you hadn't told them beforehand that it was your last match kind of thing.
Oh, right. Oh, I might not have done them.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure.
No, you're probably right, man. As I said, I'm pretty sketchy about all what happened there.
Yeah, okay.
But no, actually, I think you're right. I think I did just spring it on them after the match, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you just talked about the Dreamer no-show. I guess let's just go there and then finish this off if that's all right with you.
Yeah, sure.
So again, the match was built up and that great hype comp that Costa made.
Yeah, it's one of the best hype comps I've ever seen, and that's not blowing smoke my own arse. That I more mean that directed at Costa. He did a fucking sterling job. He took all the right verbiage from all the promos. Dreamer's promos were strong as hell. I mean, have you ever seen the promo that he did towards me, where it's all like messed up quality and like, I think it's like in a dark alley or something like that. He did this incredible promo and a load of that was used for the comp that Costa made. And yeah, it's more about those guys. Costa and Dreamer just killed that shit, man. Like, amazing. Like, I still get goosebumps every time I watch that. I get a shiver up my spine. Just the music and the way it builds. It was just absolutely perfectly set. And I was so excited. That was the match. That was the match for me. And it hurt so bad on a personal level, on a, in inverted commas, professional level. it was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's an exact line that I used in a shoot promo. It was ECW Stillborn. When we come back in 2005, I cut a promo.
Yeah.
Because Dreamer was meant to be at that show again, so we must have shaken hands. There you go. So in 2004, we must have made amends again.
Well, yeah, what happened was you posted a video on the forum, maybe like 6 months or so after DJ, I think it was, and you laid out the challenge to him.
That's right.
And then he responded with a promo of his own. It was like, oh, they're going to actually do it. And then
That's right. Yeah.
So it was like a second non-starter for that.
Yeah. So, that's why I cut that scathing promo on him. And I think I said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that's, honestly, the DJ one was when I changed. I completely changed. And it was because of what he did. So it was all pretty shoe. I think the promo that I did when I made the challenge, it was me just sitting in Burton's room. I remember saying that I lost my faith in people, and it was all true. It was all true, because I used to be Mr. Nice Guy. Before I had heat with everybody and I was moany and aggravated and pessimistic, I was the nicest guy in the world. I'd forgive anyone. If they apologised to me, I'd forgive them and forget. And I'd done it over and over again. And, I talk about the NLW girls. I used to be close to a lot of them. And, there's a few we both really liked each other and they'd end up getting with Dreamer, or they'd end up getting with Bundy, or they'd end up getting with fucking anyone but me. And, always screwing me over because I was the nice guy who'd always forgive and forget. And so a lot of that had been happening. And then, as I said, me and Dreamer were very, very close. We were almost like stepbrothers at one point. And then we're building up to the biggest match of our careers. Hype to high hell. Across the forum. Everyone's looking forward to it. And to not even tell me you weren't going to be there, it absolutely crushed me. It absolutely crushed me. I just kind of said to myself, that's it. I'm done. I'm fucking done with being who I am. I've got to toughen up. And it's kind of led me to where I am today. I'm a bit more of a no-nonsense kind of tougher person. I'm a lot more pessimistic. There's part of me that wishes I could take some of my older traits a little bit again. And I've been trying to find a better balance in life recently. But it was the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't just Dreamer. It was loads of other things. But Dreamer was the final straw. And I was disappointed. I was embarrassed, really embarrassed. Especially the second time, I was so embarrassed. Because it was like, you fucking idiot. You've let him back in again. You've organised the same thing again. He's led you straight up the garden path and done exactly the same thing. He hasn't just no-showed. He hasn't even told you he's not going to be there. And that's why, if you look at Stillborn, when I cut that promo, it's all 200% legit. I was fucking angry. I was disappointed, bitterly disappointed, because he's the nicest guy in the world, and that was what made it so frustrating for me. I love that guy, and how could he do that? Because I could never do that to somebody. I could never do that to him, and it really hurt me, and it changed my perception in life. It sounds like big words, and I don't want him to feel guilty about this, because this is all in the past. Like, I think it was 2006 at Scotswood. I remember we stood by the entranceway and completely cleared the air after everything. And he pulled me aside and we shook hands, and we've been fucking sweet as hell since then. And I don't want him to feel guilty or anything. I'm just being honest. And he knows all this. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. And it changed me. Because I realised I'm too naive. Just way too naive. Believe anything. So yeah. That's kind of what happened there.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, again, the Scotswood thing, because he came up for Northern Britfest, came up with us, the Welsh guys. And I just, it's one of those mental images you just have burned in, that you remember from certain moments. It was when he came out and did that promo. And he said something like, the BYW world who turned their back on me.
Oh, God.
And he played up on it, and you were getting ready to ref a match or something. You had this ref shirt on, and you were getting changed, and you were literally caught with your pants around your ankles, and you just stood there in your boxer just watching him do this kind of, semi-shoot thing, and the atmosphere was just ridiculous.
I do remember that now you said it. Yeah, it was it was a little bit tense that. I can't remember whether that was before or after the conversation as well, which is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it might
very,
have been before.
yeah, very, very tongue in cheek. I mean, I was, yeah, probably not very happy at that point.
But it was good that you sorted it out, though, I think.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think we'd agreed beforehand that we'd have a conversation, like maybe on MSN or something like that. I think we'd kind of said we need to have a chat when we see each other. So the seed was already planted for forgiveness, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, he's smart, really smart, and the promo was the right thing to do. You know, we'd done it before on the Hype for DJ. When he was doing his Cena-style gimmick, he said, I'm going to write a freestyle about it. It's going to be scathing, is it? Yeah, absolutely. I said, I don't want to know about it. I said, just do it. Do it, and my reaction's going to be legit. And he ripped the shit out of me. He absolutely tore me a new arsehole. And you kind of just see my reaction. I just look embarrassed. I look annoyed. And that's what I wanted, because it was all close to the bone. Because I used to be really close to this girl in FXW called Tasha. And it's quite funny, really, thinking about it, because she was quite a few years older than me. So I would have been about 15. I think she was about 19 or 20. So older girl and everything. I'm thinking, yeah, quit in. She used to go out with one of the guys in FXW. I can't even remember his name, but he was some total, like, jobber, nobody. And, you know, it's the usual story of, she's been with him for ages, but isn't happy with him, but obviously hasn't got the bollocks to do anything about it. So instead, he's just going to chat to some young guy. So we used to chat all the time, and used to like send each other letters. Even though like we chatted on MSN, like we just had like this kind of relationship where we'd send letters to each other and like photos and things like that. It's quite sweet looking back here, actually, but. Yeah, so we got very, very close, and we started flaunting it a bit on the forums and things like that. And a few of the ECW guys are like, oh my God, Selby, you know. And it was cringy, it was, but I really fancied her. I knew I kind of had the clout to the point where I could get away with it, and people weren't going to ridicule me, you know. And, yeah, so a lot of his rap that he did on me was centered around that, knowing that it was going to be quite sensitive, and he was talking about Tasha and things like that. So yeah, it was. He knows what to say and how to say it. He's a smart guy. He knows how to capitalise on real life situations. And I heard him talk about our last match that we had a couple of years ago in the podcast. You know, it was his idea. To lay the stomps into me after I was injured, in inverted commas, and no selling. And he said it to me before the match. I was like, that's genius. Like, as you said, it's all the little things with him. He thinks about these little things, and he said it's just going to cast a little bit of doubt in people's minds, and it's a bit gritty. And yeah, you'll see me, I barely sell him at all, because I roll over coughing, because in real life, if you've got a really bad injury, it doesn't matter what's going on around you, you're doing your best to nurse yourself and get yourself through it. So if I'm lying there and my back's fucked up and I'm coughing up, I'm going to try and see to that. If I've got blood coming up, I need to see to that. If somebody's laying a stomp or two into me, it doesn't really matter. I've kind of got bigger fish to fry at the moment, you know. I've got to get myself through this. So he's just so smart with things like that. And I remember I added something to it, like, I kind of like swatted his leg away a little bit and tried to like push him away, like as if, fuck off, I need some room, I'm really fucking injured. Yeah. And he's so smart with those little pieces of detail that really just turns a good match to a great match, or a good wrestler to a great wrestler. You know, that is the difference, and that is why he's the best.
Yeah, also, I mean, how did that come about, the last one you did? Well, obviously, you know, there was many years between, you know, the matches that didn't happen, and then when you wrestled, was it 2013, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Was there ever a point, like, in the many years that followed, that you almost did it? Because both of you were kind of wrestling again in NAW and stuff like that, and Heat Fest and all that kind of thing.
I'll be honest, I can't remember. I really can't remember because Dreamer wasn't really consistently on the scene.
No.
As from about 05.
No.
And I was quite intermittent throughout those years as well, to be fair. You know, as I said, after my NAW spell with Tyrant, regular wrestling was done for me. So I was very intermittent. Yeah. So while it may have looked like our paths crossed quite a lot, they probably didn't quite as much as it would seem, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, can't remember how it really came about. I just remember there being a buzz about doing another Betterfest. Just quite a few people were talking to me about it. And I thought, you know, look, it's supply and demand. If the interest is there, let's do it. Yeah. As I said, I spoke to Bert about it. He just wasn't up for doing it. He said, you know, I'll come along, whatever, but I don't want to help do it because I know it's fucking hard work and I don't know if people are going to stick to it. So, yeah, it's fine. And I think it just all come about from there, really. It was a case of, you know, need a main event. I'd like to see Dreamer again. We're all good now. Hopefully he's going to be a bit more reliable. I mean, good Lord, there was some nerves before it. Honest to God. You know, if the saying is, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, I can't even imagine what fool me 3 times is. I mean, Jesus Christ, I need a fucking slap. But, yeah, I remember being very, very nervy. And I remember having to get word from like people like Dave. I was like, Dave, fucking get him here. You know, get him here. And I remember I had to be in contact with him to make, you know, get updates and make sure that they go and grab him and that he's in and that he's in the car and that he's on his way. And, you know, I was really nervous. I thought I was going to be embarrassed again, you know?
Yeah. I was just wondering if there was any point that you kind of thought, right, let's try it for a third time. And there was also the Britfest that you wrestled John. Dreamer and Ollie had a match. Great match. And
excellent match.
And you kind of came out and just shook his hand, just a little tiny thing at the end. It was kind of a cool little, you know.
Oh, yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah,
I think it was they kind of had it for the ECW title, and like Dave came out at the end as well, and
that's right.
It's kind of like an ECW thing.
That's right. Yeah, that was just
which is really cool.
Me as an owner kind of deal, and yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a couple last things. Again, there's so many more things, but we can't go on all day.
Yeah, well, I'm up for doing another one at some point if you want to do it, mate.
Yeah, man, definitely. There's a lot of other things. In particular, I'd love to talk about the Tyrant feud in depth. But,
I'd love to, yeah.
But 2 things: the Selby submission special and the greetings. How did you come up with those 2 as your kind of, you know, your signature or your finishers, I should say?
Okay, so the greetings from Harlow Mill, sit out powerbomb.
Yeah.
For a start, the name is a play on Bam Bam Bigelow's finisher, Greetings from Aylesbury Park, which is Rikishi Driver, essentially.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a play on that. We thought we'd go Greetings from Harlow Mill, because me and Ollie always used to find Harlow Mill Station utterly pointless, because in Harlow, you've got Harlow Town and Harlow Mill. Harlow Town's the main one, Harlow Mill's the shitty one that nobody goes to. Ironically, I live 5 minutes away from that and have to use it all the time now, which is annoying. But we all, for some reason, you know, we had weird sense of humour. We always found Harlow Mill funny. So it was Greetings from Harlow Mill. The original idea for the move, and if you see the first few times I hit it, I seem to recall Enter Sandman 2002 was one of the first times I hit it. That was actually the first event where Dreamer and Costa and Jamie Lohan showed up. I deliberately used to try and drop people onto a shoulder. Because again, I always tried to do something a little bit different. I thought, what if I do a powerbomb, but intentionally try to drop them on their arm and shoulder, so it's more of like an arm injury type move.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it's weird. I mean, looking back at it, it's strange. I don't really know why I thought of that, but yeah. So the first few times I did it, I intentionally tried to drop people lopsided. Yeah, it didn't really make sense eventually, so it just turned into a flat out powerbomb. Submission special. It was one of those things where I thought it'd be nice to have a submission. I always think that's quite nice for a wrestler to have a balance. You see it with a lot of the greats, don't you? You see them have their finisher and they also have like a main submission move that they can go to for the big matches as well. So I always thought that would be quite good. I'm trying to think where I picked it up from. See, I'll be honest, I can't remember whether I nicked it or whether I thought I made it up, then realised it had been elsewhere. I think it was the latter. I think I thought I made it up, but it had already been about. I liked it because it suited my... It generally just suited me.
Yeah,
I thought
definitely.
it was, because I was quite small, so it was good for me to like get a lock on people. Like the whole like leg scissors aspect to it. I really liked it because there was a lot of reversals. To me, you've always got to think about the flip side of things. Like, it's great having a good move, but what about the other person? What can you do with it? How can you tease it? How can you reverse it? What role is it going to play in a match? And it's one of those that I can do out of nowhere. I can do it at the start of a match. And they can chuck me off and go, fuck, that was close. It's one of those, and I think they work great. So, that's how those two moves came about, really. And obviously, he had the elbow drop as well. That was Mick Foley. That was sort of my main trademarks, really. Diving headbutt, Chris Benoit.
Gotta love the elbow drop, man. It's the best.
Good fun. Yeah. High five on that one.
Yeah. All right then. Well, one last thing. I usually ask people like, what do they think of Backyard now that it's all done, and they look back on it. But you've kind of covered that pretty extensively.
Yeah. I mean, you know how I feel about it. I like to think I've pretty much covered that. I don't want to be a broken record and retread the same ground again. But I obviously miss it an awful lot. Might be one of the best times of my life. Who knows? Hopefully there'll be more fun up ahead. But hey, this adult life ain't all it's cracked up to be, is it?
Well, one last thing with the Dreamer match. I was so happy to see that happen, by the way. And it seems like that match is lost, which is ridiculous. The media.
Oh, I'm gutted, mate. Yeah, I'm absolutely gutted. To do a legitimate 45 minutes bell to bell, I was stunned that we had that in us, and deeply proud of the match. Bit rough around the edges, but I mean, what do you expect? And to me, it's not about that. It's about story, and I think it had a solid story. The match was already written before we even fucking tied up, but I think that the in-match story was really nice, with me beating the shit out of him, a lot of pent-up anger, taking a high risk, not paying off. I did it too early in the match because I was too hot-headed. Ended up fucking myself over completely because I was just too hot-headed. And I think, that's nice. And I'd completely forgotten about the end until Dream was talking about it, about the handshake.
I love that. I love that because you had such a unique history, I guess, with the past and everything, and just the usual thing is to shake the hand and all that kind of thing. And it was just such a nice little twist for Dream, but nah, fuck off. It seemed the perfect end.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. We spoke about it, and I said to him, but that's what should happen. Like we should just embrace. I said, fuck no, we're not going. We were meant to have this match years ago. We were then meant to have it again, and it didn't happen. Why buck the trend now? Things that have meant to have happened haven't happened with us. So we're meant to just embrace and do the whole we're all right now thing. Fuck no. He was the natural heel throughout the whole thing because he kept screwing his friend over. It was a shoot. But that became the story. It wasn't a wrestling storyline anymore. It was real life. He kept screwing me over, and I just thought, I'm the face. We finally had this final showdown. I'm trying to think. He beat me, didn't he? Did he win?
John, honestly, I cannot remember the actual outcome.
I'm pretty sure.
I just remember the handshake bit. That's that stood out.
No, he beat me because he hit loads of DDTs on me. He beat me, and I thought, we've come full circle. I'll show the sign of respect. He beat me fair and square. We finally had the match. We're all older. We're all better. We're all wiser, and I'll show the sign of respect. And as I said, the thing that's meant to happen is he shakes the hand and everybody claps and everything's great.
Yeah.
But let's not do that. Let's end it with you being the heel. And the heel wins. Game over.
Yeah.
Done. The end. It's a horrible ending. So sometimes shit happens.
Yeah, exactly.
There ain't always a fucking happy ending. That's life. And I wanted that to come across. You know, the good guys don't always win, I'm afraid. And even if you show them respect and doing the right thing, don't always work out for you, mate.
Yeah.
Don't always work out for you. And I just thought it would be quite a nice message, you know, hopefully something to remember the feud by, that it was just that bitter ending to it.
Yeah. Well, you say, you know, it wasn't a happy ending in terms of the match, but as for you personally, was that better for you to end on as opposed to the BWF match?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. No, it wasn't the right way for me to finish.
Yeah.
The BBWF one. As I said, it's nothing to do with them. It's not a knock on them at all.
No. Yeah.
It wasn't fitting. It wasn't right. You know, it was a nice platform. Like, there's lots of people there. It was in a ring. That's great. But it shouldn't have been a multi-man match against BBWF guys. That wasn't the appropriate ending. Whereas, this is another thing. I always hated it when people retired and come out of retirement. Yeah. It's ironic because I love Terry Funk, but he gets a pass. But Dreamer did it all the time and it annoyed me. But it wasn't just Dreamer. Loads of people did it. I think Ads did it a few times. It always wound me up. I just thought all you're doing is watering down what should be a really nice celebration. And now when some fucker does do it, people are going to be going, oh yeah, I wonder when he's coming back. Like, you're just fucking it up. Not just for yourself, but for everybody else as well, because it's losing credibility now. So I always said, when I retire, I retire. And that is why in 2008, I knew it was time to stop. So I retired, but I don't feel like I really went against it because, in my opinion, BYW died. Betterfest was just very much a one-off. The way I saw it was just coming out of retirement as a one-off. I ain't going to be doing any more matches. To me, it was just, that was a one-off. It was me and Dreamer. I was only ever doing it for me and Dreamer. I weren't going to do it willy-nilly. I don't think I insulted anybody's intelligence. It was 5 years after I'd retired, and Backyard ain't even really a thing anymore anyway. So I didn't feel like I cheated myself or went against my own word by doing that. Obviously, technically, some might disagree, but to me, it was just a very special one-off. Coming out of retirement just for once. I'd like to think when I cried in front of everybody and said goodbye, that was all from the heart and I meant it. And I feel like I followed that through for 5 years. It was an event I wasn't expecting to happen, and it was a match I wasn't expecting to happen, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I know I probably nagged you like every year after that to have a match with me. But I think, honestly, when I heard that it was going to happen, I had that little, is it really going to happen? But when it did and I saw it, I thought it was just so good that you guys got to kind of just draw a line under it, and and for you to finally get that kind of proper one-on-one match to end out on was really good to see.
Exactly, it had to happen, man. It had to happen, and by God, we waited long enough. I mean, it's nearly 10 years in the making. It's incredible.
Exactly.
About that, it's incredible. So fitting end. Shame it wasn't bigger platform, you know. Better event before it and whatnot, but hey ho, it's fine. All I was focused on was my match, you know, to be brutally honest.
All right, well that's about it then, I guess. I mean, we've talked about so much stuff. Actually,
covered a lot of ground. It's been very nice entering the time machine again, mate. I just wanted to say thanks for taking the time and effort to do this, because ever since the podcasting things kicked off, I've been listening to a lot of them, and I thoroughly enjoy them. I've always wanted to do one myself, really. I guess I always envisioned myself hosting one as opposed to, being a guest on one. But no, it's been brilliant. I really appreciate the time you put into it, and I love the Dreamer one. I'm going to be listening to them all. Nice. Really, really interesting, and I appreciate you taking the time out to do so.
Yeah, not at all, man. It's been a pleasure. I mean, I think I'm probably going to split this one into two parts, but I mean, we've just passed over 3 hours now straight. So.
Unbelievable. And the thing is that, I mean, that's probably not even 20% of all the stuff I could talk about.
I know, man. Yeah.
They're absolutely scary.
Anyway, but nice one, man, for now, and I'm sure we'll do this again soon.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Alright, so that was it. That was the Dan Selby interview slash discussion slash interview, and I hope you enjoyed. There's been a lot of great feedback for the first part that went up on Monday. A lot of people commenting and saying they enjoyed it, so that's really cool. And it seems like more people are listening to the podcast as well, which is also cool. So yeah, it's been fun doing these so far, and we got a lot more to come. Next week will be another installment hosted by Alex, and it'll be another Dan from the world of backyard wrestling. Dan! 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 No, he's not seeing. Dan! Nope, just me. Okay. Yeah, so, oh, my cat just fell off the... Right, I'll leave that in. Yeah, so basically, yeah, next week will be Daniel Makabe from VCW / I Sucks Dicks. Yes, it does feel weird to say that out loud. But there you go. Next week, Daniel Makabe. Look forward to that. And thanks for listening.